All right, everybody, what Rocky was the best Rocky? That's what we're here to find out. Let's hit it. All right, everybody, what we're doing here today is looking at the 6 Rocky motion pictures, Rocky 1 through Rocky Balboa, aka Rocky 6. And we're going to rate them from worst to best. And I'm just going to put them in my own personal preference. I'm sure some people out there might disagree with it. Some people might be right in line. Who the heck knows? But that's the way I'm going to work it. I'm not going to count the Creed flicks because they're really not part of what I'm doing here. I mean, they're part of the Rocky universe, obviously, but it's not what I'm looking at. They're 2 great movies. I love them both. But that's not what we're looking at here. This is where Rocky Balboa is the main character and the story is his. So, let's kick it. Oh, and one last thing. I'm not going to go super in-depth in these movies. I'm going to save that for another time. I'll be going over all these flicks where I can really dive into them, director, cast, the whole 9 yards. This is just an overview. This is just to see where I rank them, how I rank them, and which ones I rank in which order. That's it. You're talking to a guy who's like one of the biggest fight fanatics probably on the planet. I've been that way since I was a little kid. Muhammad Ali was my idol. I had all the boxing magazines from all the publications forever, for like over 20 years. I've got thousands of fights on VHS tape and stuff, so I'm just a lunatic on boxing. I always have been. And even every year, me and my family make the pilgrimage down to the Boxing Hall of Fame to watch the parade and the induction ceremonies, to meet all the fighters, all that kind of stuff. It's our family thing to do every year. So, fight fanatic to the core. Let's get to the business. Let's rate these movies. All right, coming in dead last at number 6. This might upset some people because some people hold it really near and really dear, but for me, it was the letdown, and that is Rocky IV. Yes, 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 we all love Dolph Lundgren. We loved the Ivan Drago character, but this movie felt so far removed from the other Rocky movies because he's this rich guy polishing his Ferraris. His boy Paulie is sitting there with a robot bringing him beers and talking to him. It's like, what the hell is going on? We all know what happens. We know Apollo comes out of retirement. We know Drago kills him. We know Rocky wants to avenge it. We know his wife gets mad, and we know Rocky does it anyway, and his wife follows him, and there's the big battle, and blah, 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 blah. We get it. But the movie just felt like training, fight, training, fight, training, music video, and the story in between was just too little, too late. And there was a bunch of goofy things going on too. You know, Drago holding one guy up in a chokehold from the Politburo, looking like he's like fucking Superman or something. And Rocky getting knocked down in fights, and they don't even call it a knockdown. They don't even start counting. He just spins around and keeps fighting. It was just ridiculous. Yeah, it's a Rocky movie, and it was so enjoyable. Let's face it, Rocky IV was just, it was dumb. Okay, coming in 5th place is, well, how appropriately, Rocky V. This movie was actually better than Rocky IV, in my opinion, but it was still kind of a downer. You see Rocky's now brain damaged, he loses everything, but he finds this young fighter in the name of Tommy Gunn, played by Tommy the Duke Morrison, and he brings him up through the ranks, only to be betrayed just before the kid goes for his title shot. And we all know how it goes. The ending is just another fight in another Rocky movie, except this one, it's not in the ring, it's in the street. Rocky V was a valiant attempt to try to get back to the feel of a Rocky motion picture. You know, put him back in the old neighborhood. It did all that kind of stuff. You seen your familiar surroundings. It just felt a little bit off. There was things that just didn't work. Sage Stallone, God rest his soul, played his son, but it didn't seem like the ages felt right. Like he was the right age to be playing it, and it was really stark contrast when you seen like Rocky Balboa standing next to Tommy Gunn. You realize, my God, he is not really a heavyweight in real life, because if Tommy Morrison ever hit this guy, he would probably kill him. You know what I mean? Because they were so dramatically different in size and stature. The George Washington Duke character was just ridiculous and over the top. I get it. He was supposed to be Don King, and Don King is ridiculous and over the top. But at the same time, it just felt like a little bit too far, too much. And for some reason, Stallone just looked weird in Rocky in this one. He was really slimmed down, and he almost looked like he was his 158-pound version of Sylvester Stallone. He wasn't really big. It looks like he just walked off the set of like Tango and Cash and walked into this or something. So it just felt weird and off all the way around. Again, not a horrible movie, not a bad movie, but simply not up to the rest of the Rocky franchise or the Creed franchise for that matter, but still better than Rocky IV, let's face that shit. Okay, next up, and this is really hard because this easily could have been my number 3. Easily could have been my number 3, and it can probably switch places tomorrow if you catch me in the right mood. But Rocky Balboa, aka Rocky 6, has to come into my 4th spot. Well, it doesn't have to. It could have been 3rd. But this motion picture was a return to what we felt in a Rocky movie. It felt like a Rocky movie. He felt like Rocky again. It was the Rocky we knew and the Rocky we loved. It was a much simpler man. Unfortunately, in this one of the things that hurt it so much was that Adrian was gone, died of ovarian cancer in it. You know how it goes. And he was living alone, basically with Paulie, just stuck in the past and couldn't move on. His relationship with his son was tarnished at best. They didn't really talk that much. But it felt like a Rocky movie, and it was really, really good. Yes, the idea of him fighting the reigning Mason the Lion Dixon Antonio Tarver heavyweight champion of the world at like 62 or whatever was ridiculous. We get it. We know. It's silly. But the movie was done so well, it was crafted so well, it made you believe it could almost happen. You know what I mean? Even though he was like 20 years older than George Foreman was when he made got his title back. But it was still well done. It was still well crafted. You cared about how him and the character Marie got along, who was the kid from the first Rocky movie. They never crossed the line and became romantic, which would have really made people feel funny because Adrian had just passed. Rocky Balboa is a really, really good motion picture. And if you didn't totally get into that scene where he's doing the, life ain't all sunshine and rainbows speech, one of the greatest speeches in motion pictures of all times, bar none. I put that on my Facebook wall 1 trillion times and said, hey people, listen to this, because this is what life is all about. This is the real world. Rocky Balboa could have easily been number 3. Maybe I would have changed my mind, but I'm already rolling. Rocky Balboa, really good movie. Go check it out. Okay, let's keep going. All right, in the 3rd spot, how can you not have Rocky 3? Come on, Rocky 3. Mr. T, Hulk Hogan, 2 fights. I mean, that motion picture was cool. You got to see Rocky doing what a lot of fighters do, which was really cool. It showed his rise to the top in the beginning in this opening montage where he's going through and he's banging out all those contenders and taking care of them, and the fame starts to get to him, and the wife starts liking the money, and he starts getting carried away with it, and he loses his grip on what's important. Wow, man, I think I just quoted Eye of the Tiger. But he's starting to lose his grip on what's really important and what really mattered to him, and he becomes more worried about celebrity and fame, and it's not so much about being hungry, it's about being Rocky Balboa. And his trainer sees it and he wants him to desperately stay away from Clubber Lang, who's young and hungry. And we all know that Rocky loses the first fight, and we all know that Apollo Creed comes in and trains him, and we all know that he gets the Eye of the Tiger back. The movie was done so well and so fast-paced and exciting, especially after the first 2 movies were such heavy dramas. This one was really, really quick. It rolled along really, really, really fast. Was it as good as the other 2? No, but it was still done really, really well. It was enjoyable. Sure, we can laugh at and goof on the whole charity event with Hulk Hogan, but at the time, you were down with him fighting Thunderlips. Don't you fucking deny it. That movie was exciting. It was fast-paced. It was well done. Everybody loves Rocky 3. And come on, man, watching him go around that ring, because the fights were both short. You're talking like a couple of, 2 or 3 round fight, whatever. That stuff was legendary. Rocky 3 in 3rd place. Bam! Okay, everybody, obviously, number 2 is going to go to number 2. Rocky 2. Great follow-up. Even the soundtrack, which was expanded on, was just amazing. That opening scene when they show them going to the hospital and you hear that theme, it was just beautiful music, beautifully shot, beautifully done. The sentiment was so there, where you see Rocky trying to get on his feet because he's kind of like a celebrity now. He wants to be somebody, but he can't read, and he falls behind. He can't do commercials. And then all of a sudden, he's back to working in the meat packing, and he just wants to take care of his wife, but he can't do it because he's been nothing but a fighter his whole life. He doesn't know how to get ahead. Creed desperately wants to rematch to erase the stain on his record from Rocky Balboa almost beating him, and it just comes to a crescendo. And in the middle of it, you have his wife almost die during childbirth because she had an early labor and complications, and all that comes in. And don't you tell me when she says to him, "Win, Rocky, win, you almost didn't lose your mind." You start jumping out your seat and you start saying, "Win, Rocky, win, let's go." And you were into it. Rocky 2 was awesome. Yes, the double knockdown at the end. Okay, you know, it's goofy, it's hokey. As a fight fanatic, like I said, I've seen that happen maybe a couple of times in like ever, but it was what it was. It doesn't erase how great the rest of the motion picture was. Rocky 2, gotta check it, gotta love it. That's it. All right, folks. I mean, this was a no-brainer. You knew it was going to happen. The original Rocky, Rocky 1. I mean, come on, man. When we were kids and watched this motion picture, it was probably the most dangerous thing that ever happened to us because we all went outside and beat the living hell out of each other after watching this thing because everybody wanted to be Rocky and everybody wanted to achieve his dream. The story of a man who had basically squandered whatever talent he had and became basically a thug, a leg breaker for a two-bit loan shark. That's a quote. And he is now just living this seedy life in a horrible apartment, doing nothing, fighting bum fights, and he gets the dream opportunity. He gets the chance to turn himself around and be the real him, be the caring him, be the good guy that's been hiding in this world of being a thug. And to see him develop that and carry that, and to see Adrian help bring that out of him and see him bring out of her the person with confidence who could do something behind this shy shell of a girl living in a pet store. This was a motion picture about people who moved and lived in a very, very, very slow, small world, and that's all that they had. And through the power of each other, they brought each other out of that and made the world a bigger place and achieved more together than they ever could have done apart. And they were just the power couple of all time. Every time you seen that poster from the movie, and it just had Rocky and Adrian, and he was either holding her or they're walking holding hands, you said, God damn it, that's the way every couple should be. They had each other's back, they loved each other, and what they brought out of each other and did for each other was everything. And then on top of that, you have him realizing his dream and realizing that he's not just a bum from the neighborhood and taking his shot. At the end of it, you didn't care if he won or lost because he had already won. He had already proven to the world, and more importantly himself, that he was more than what he was, that he was more than just a leg breaker and another bum from the neighborhood, that he had what it took, that he had what it took. All right, folks, that's it. I got to run. I got to go. But I wanted to make this video. I just literally got back from the Boxing Hall of Fame a couple days ago. It was all still fresh in my mind and still going. So, my top 6 Rocky movies, worst to last. Did you like it? Did you not? Leave a comment. Why not? Hey, everybody, peace, love, joy. Catch you later.